Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here, and welcome to another video. There was enough interest in the last part of the suspension filter build for both parts, and that is the internal volcano and the external hob, that when I started doing this, I figured I would do both. But because I have rather limited resources at the moment, actually at the moment when this video was started, it was fairly limited, and I'll explain by the middle of the video. You'll understand more. That has changed since then. That what I would do is I would start with the hob, because I don't really have, the supplier I have for this acrylic tubing had at the time, I should say, really limited hours and also limited supplies, because they weren't really getting anything new in, because, well, you know all the reasons. So anyway, what I thought I would do is I would start with the hob, because I can more easily reuse the parts. If you remember from when I was doing all the airlift builds, I had bought a bunch of acrylic tubing that nested really nicely like this. So instead of gluing something on, I took these two pieces here. I'm going to just cut a little bit off, and then I machined them on the lathe so that they're really nice and smooth and perpendicular, but that's only important for the flow. But in this case, what it is, because this tube will fit in and pretty much be completely flush, that I won't really need to glue it. So I can just I'm going to build a top housing for this, which is going to supply all the water and allow the water to overflow and all that sort of stuff. And because it's like close enough that, like I said, I won't have to glue it. If I wanted to keep it, I would. But what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to pull that whole top assembly off, and then the bottom part I can use for the volcano build. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build that now, and I'm going to explain how that plan has also changed. Oh, first off, this is going to be the top, the part that's in my hand there now. That's going to be the top, and those fittings are going to fit in that. And the one on the far left is just the washer, so I don't have to do any gluing. And then the one on the right is going to be where the pipe's going to go down into the main tube and circulate the water and sand. And you can see, because that hole is larger, I don't have to drill any additional holes. It will just flow up around the central pipe. So you'll see how that all works as this progresses. But since I made these plans, a number of things have changed. First off, the city I live in is pretty much all on full lockdown. So all of my clients, all my suppliers, everybody is closed. So that changes a number of things. First off, well, my clients are all closed, so I'm not making any money. And that means I can't really afford to buy any parts, even if my suppliers were open, to do the volcano build. I have most of what I need, but there are a couple of things I would have to pick up. And first off, I can't buy them because there's no one around. I could probably get them on the internet, but then again, I don't have any additional funds until this whole crisis is over. So the volcano build is going to be on hold. My apologies for that, but there's really nothing I can do about it at this point, because, as I said, I first off have no additional funds for anything, and again, I couldn't buy it even if I wanted to. Sorry about that. But a good aspect of all this is, because I've gone pretty much from 60 hours of work a week down to about 4 or 5, I have more time for YouTube. So I'm going to catch up on some videos, and also what I thought I might do is do an extra video in all the given weeks. So instead of just Fridays and Wednesdays, I would add a Sunday video. Now, this Sunday I have something I want to start, but I'm going to leave this a little bit more fluid. First off, the first video is going to be, as I've been trying to do for quite some time, is compare all of the filter DIYs I've done. But instead of just me doing a few videos and saying, hey, this is what I like about this is what I don't like about that, I am going to have, I'm going to call it a filter off. So what it's going to be is, it's going to be kind of like a competition, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 filters, and then I'm going to give you the pros and cons of why I like them. But you guys are going to decide which one you like the most. So you'll leave comments, and then the next time I do one of those, which might be the next week or whatever, I haven't figured all that part out. You guys can give me some input on that as well. The winner of that the last version will go up against the new filter, and we'll continue doing this until we finally have pretty much what the best DIY filter is of the ones I've built in the last little while. Because I have no idea how long this virus lockdown thing is going to go. They're pretty much talking till at least the end of April anyway. So instead of, I have, well, one of the other things is I have actually, before this all started, I got in 2 full sheets of acrylic. That is a 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch. So I can actually do some builds. So if the filter competition or filter off is not interesting to you guys, just let me know. And if you have builds that don't require me to go out and buy anything, because I have lots of methylene chloride here, and I have lots of acrylic, and I can do lots of different things. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do the river build yet, because that will require me buying, again, something I don't have. So that one's also on hold. So I want to fill this time with some builds and some filter aquarium stuff. And I'm going to try and leave as much of that up to you guys as possible. So if you have ideas, definitely let me know and fill me in on what you're interested in, what you would like to see. There are some fish room renos I'm going to do because, again, I have a fair amount of time and I want to get to them. And I want to do that. I want to at least get to the point where I have the floor space to do the river build when hopefully all this nonsense finally goes away. All right, enough about all that. Definitely leave me comments. Let me know what you think, and I'll try and accommodate as much as possible. And again, just try and keep it to stuff that I can do without having to go and buy anything. Now, I can scavenge parts from other stuff as well, so we'll see also how that all goes. So just bear with me, please, and hopefully this won't last too long. Now, what I've done here is I've pretty much finished the top housing. You can see how it's going to fit. This is going to slide over the main filter hole. There you go, the tube, and it's going to just slide in there, and it'll be snug enough that it will only have a drip, I'm pretty sure. We'll see how that goes as well. Now, there's going to be a tube that's going to fit down, obviously, through here once I have this fitting on, and it's going to go almost to the bottom or the end of that tube, and that is going to supply water down into it. And then you see the little, still has this blue protective thing on. That's going to be the lip for the, so it hangs on the side of the tank. And this is going to be where the water is going to go. Now, because I can take, actually one of the neat things about this is I was going along and I was thinking about it. This is actually a good way to build one of these filters simply because it does take well, in hindsight now anyway. And actually I think I kind of figured it was going to be like this anyway. It does take a lot of finicky work to get the tube the right distance from the bottom and also have the right flow through it. So because this comes apart easily and I can just pull the tube off, I can stick it in the lathe and I can make an adjustment to it, like down to 1/100 of an inch easily, and then put it all back together quite simply, as you can see here. It actually turned out to be quite an efficient way of testing this out. So this is actually almost done. I'm going to put a bottom on this because there we go. The bottom's on it now, so that I glued on because it's going to stay there for the Volcano version when I finally do get around to that. Again, my apologies. All I need to do to this actually to convert it is to drill a hole in the side near the bottom, and then of course put on the layers of terracotta clay, and then bake them on and do all that. So there you go. This is pretty much finished now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this. Actually, the first little bit coming up here is I'm going to test out the zoom on the camera and check distances and whatnot, just for my own. This is just for my own. For future videos, I wanted to know how much I can zoom and still have clarity, and that's all the reason why I'm doing this part here. So anyway, this is all ready. I'm going to stick it on a tank, and then the other issue I found with this particular build at this point is the sand I have is too light. It works. You can see a bunch of it in the aquarium as well. And because it's not uniform in size, pretty much what it did is it just rinsed out all the light stuff, and it went into the aquarium, which is no big deal. I can just vacuum that up. But I didn't want to add any more. I need to order a larger grade of sand for this, and of course I can't do that right now. So I'm going to keep all these parts, and then once they can see the water dripping down there, that's easy obviously to get rid of with a bit of glue, and you can see a little bit up in the housing there. But other than that, this is actually fine. I'm not a fan of suspension filters, but the reason why I'm not a fan has nothing to do with how this turned out. It's because I do everything from a perspective of how is this going to work for a client. I mean, I do lots of builds and whatnot. If I put this style of filter on a client's tank, I'm not going to see it for maybe 2-3 weeks. It has to be something that's reliable, and I know that I'm not going to have to worry about adjusting flow rates. If the water level goes down a little bit in the tank, is that going to change things? That's not as critical with a water pump because they usually have adjustable inputs and outflows, so that's fine. But there has to be an intake screen on this that could get plugged up. There are things about this style of filter that I simply just don't like for a client. But for a home aquarium, you can't top the amount of surface area that a sand filter will have. But again, we'll have to wait until, like I said, all this stuff is over and I can buy the right kind of sand, or sorry, the right heaviness of sand. I mean, the sand I have is just way too light, so it just percolated right out. I have the pump actually turned all the way down as well. So anyway, enough of all that. If you like the style of video, please like and or subscribe. Definitely leave me lots of comments on what you would like to see, because I am going to have a bit more time, and I would like to put out at least one extra video for now, and we'll see how that goes. If you have suggestions, leave them, and I'll read them, and we'll get to that. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.